Let's see here. Okay, so we got Candace here is discussing in last night's episode. She's discussing how she has been sitting on this video. She's always known what Farnsworth did with the SD card. So let's go ahead and take a look at this video right here.
Here is what Terrell did thereafter, seen for the first time. Terrell is there. He looks around again, nervously, and he puts the SD card in his pocket and he zips up. He doesn't run to the other cameras and try to grab the SD card. Instead, what he does is he whips out his phone and he begins texting with someone. And that's what he does. He's texting with someone to say what? Who's he texting? What's he saying? If he's just out there fighting evil and worried about securing the footage, why didn't he grab the other SD card or 3 of them in a row? Who is he in communication with after he grabs that? Because I got to tell you something, Andrew. Were it me and I was amongst my peers,
Sorry about that. Bear with me, guys. Okay, here we go.
SD card in his pocket and he zips up. He doesn't run to the SD card in his pocket and he zips up. He doesn't run to the other cameras and try to grab the SD card. Instead, what he does is he whips out his phone and he begins texting with someone. And that's what he does. He's texting with someone to say what? Who's he texting? What's he saying? If he's just out there fighting evil and worried about securing the footage, why didn't he grab the other SD card or 3 of them in a row? Who is he in communication with after he grabs that? Because I got to tell you something, Andrew. Were it me and I was amongst my peers.
Okay, so what it looks like to me is Terrell Farnsworth is completed what he needed to complete. He did what he had to do, and after Charlie was shot, it was known that the camera, Candace has mentioned this many times, other commentators as well, would have gotten a clear view of what really happened. So he knew that he had to remove that SD card, because that would have been evidence that Charlie Kirk wasn't it doesn't fit with the narrative that Charlie Kirk was not assassinated by someone atop the Losi Center with a 3-06. That is Terrell Farnsworth removed that evidence, and that's what Candace is talking about. Again, this is another shady sketchy um, part coming out of TPUSA that needs to be looked at. And Candace is she's asking questions, which is okay, which is totally okay to do. Um, Charles Farnsworth, as you know, he went around and he did the live stream after Charlie was shot, and he had it was just weird, just real weird the way he did that. Oh my God, Charlie's dead. Charlie's dead. You guys remember that? Um, Me in particular, uh, this whole TPUSA thing, it's like it is analogous of what our government's doing. They are gaslighting us. They don't care. They don't care about regular people. All they care about is power. So much so that they allow uh, other countries to come to we're bribed basically by other countries. Um, Got another clip here that I want to show you. Just earlier, some earlier footage here. Bear with me, guys. So this is what Charles Farnsworth was doing on the other side of the tent. We all seen this footage here. Let's just look at this. He's looking around, watching it. Removing the goes back and looking around, and looks anxiety, watching it, and then he puts the SD looking at his phone. He goes on his phone and he starts texting. I think he's texting someone letting him know, hey, I have secured the SD card. I've secured the SD card. And then he sent footage to the FBI, and the state FBI for Utah. But that footage he sent them wasn't the original footage. It was cropped. So he still has the original footage from behind Charlie Kirk. Okay. All right. So let me know what your thoughts and opinions are on that. And we're gonna move into the next story. We're gonna talk a little bit more about the Andrew Wilson debate that we all saw. Um, Again, there's so much to look at in this Andrew Wilson, Candace Owens debate. So many different things happened there. Um, Andrew Wilson, again, I think it was like a tactic that TPUSA used. They knew they wanted Andrew Wilson to go after Candace Owens and to debate her. So the only way they could do that and to pay him, all that money was to act like he came in to teach TPUSA employees how to debate. So when Andrew Wilson came in and he's debating Candace, as you know, he did not substantiate any of his major claim, which was that the evidence was overwhelming. He really did embarrass himself to come into this debate, which is a historical. It's a historical debate. To come into debate not prepared, to come into debate not in good faith, and to continuously pivot right from being able to substantiate his claim that the evidence was overwhelming. So let's go ahead and look at
is the felony discharge of a weapon. The next two charges are for obstruction of justice.
So real quick, as you know, before this, before I show you this clip, it's been, Candace has mentioned this. Like, if you are following this case, if you're following this case, and you are someone that is supposed to be a master debater, you've been sent by TP USA, you would think that you would know if your claim is that the evidence to convict Tyler Robinson on the charges that he killed Charlie Kirk, you think you would know what the charges are. And it's obvious that he doesn't. It's obvious that he hasn't been following this case, and he doesn't really care about the case. He cares more about the money. PBD said that he won. PBD said that Candace and Andrew Wilson won, but that Andrew Wilson was the bigger winner because he made some money. His viewership increased. So from a business side, PBD says that Andrew Wilson won, and that's not something that I jive with. That's not something I rock with, because your character, who you are, your morals, your principles, your integrity, all that matters more than a paycheck or a viewership. And so for PBD to put it in that light, I'm just not with that. I'm not with that. It's not always about money, but for some, it is. So let's go ahead and watch Candace just embarrass him.
The question, you're just not following it enough.
It seems pretty, like, if you're going to engage and you're going to say the evidence is overwhelming that Tyler Robinson is guilty, I just think that you should, like,
right.
Can you tell me one
Then let's do the counter. You can really, no, this is a great gotcha.
No. You just got to ask me, play clips out of context, put me in the hot seat. So please just answer the question.
This is fair.
And that's another thing too that Candace mentioned. He wasn't supposed to come with all these clips. That wasn't part of the debate. Because again, all these clips that he showed in that debate had nothing to do with his claim. So he was really like this was like smoke, right? This was just like a smoke bomb. Like, all right, I'm coming under the guise that I'm going to substantiate my claim. That Tyler Robinson, the evidence against Tyler Robinson is overwhelming. But then why are you showing all these clips of Candace Owens, like, trying to do a gotcha moments? Because that's not why you're really there. There's no way you can prove, or there's no, as he termed, positive evidence to show that the case for Tyler Robinson killing Charlie Kirk was overwhelming. There's no evidence for that. So
name all seven since you've been following the case.
Okay, sure. You name one.
Yeah, you named all seven.
I'm happy to do that, but can you name one?
I think he's been charged with murder.
That's actually incorrect.
I think. The master debater says, I think he's been charged with murder.
Okay,
Correct.
great. Now name all 7.
He doesn't even. This is like
Name all 7.
and I.
Can you
think
name all 7?
I can.
Then do it.
Sure, you don't have to
Do
put
it. No, do it. I'll count them. Go ahead.
you don't have
Name
to put
'em.
your fingers up. I
Okay,
can do
hang on.
that.
Name them.
Yeah, so he's just trying to use intimidation. He's being a d-head, an asshole. He's trying to use intimidation. Look at his face, you know. Yeah, just really annoying. I felt really annoyed watching this debate. I wasn't really happy with the way the debate went. I feel like there was so much more that could have been said. Candace was really nice about it. I think because she knew that this guy didn't know anything, and also I think PBD. Look at PBD smiling, smirking a little bit, but I think he could have done a better job as well in moderating and getting Andrew Wilson not like he's showing favoritism, but getting Andrew Wilson to stay focused on his claim, on defending his claim, because that's what he was there for, and I think that's where PBD failed as a moderator. Although he did allow them to speak, he didn't take over the show, which is good, but he needed to get a little more control. And he didn't do that.
Yeah, sure.
Name them.
The first charge is aggravated murder because that's what carries
Okay.
a death sentence
So
in the
murder.
state of Utah. No,
Next.
that's not. That is literally not murder.
Okay.
And so
Next.
just for people, no, don't. I don't have to do it in a time limit. There's nothing going on. And just to explain to people the difference of why that really matters and shows that he doesn't actually care about this at all is because aggravated murder, it's narrowly defined,
Just
and
avoiding
because
the
it carries
question.
a death sentence. I'm going to answer the question.
Okay.
You're just going to recognize that your strategy of thinking that people are intimidated when you.
Yeah, he's just trying to throw her off. You know, she's speaking. He just keeps saying little things. You know, you're avoiding the question. You're not answering the question. What question? You asked her to name the 7 charges, and that's what she's doing. So how is she avoiding the question? Just total dishonesty.
Try to put a time constraint doesn't work, and you'll be better the next time you debate.
I got it. Give me the other ones.
The more you cut me off, the longer I'll take. Do you want to just wait for me to finish of why that's a big difference so that people don't walk away?
No, I just want you to list the charges.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. You just don't get to pretend that there's a time constraint for me to do that.
Well, how long does it take you to list 7 charges?
Because I'm speaking. You just got to.
It sounds like you're just delaying it because you don't know.
Well, it's taking this long because you keep talking, Andrew. You got to shut up. You got to shut up and let her speak because you don't know the charges, right? You don't know them, obviously. Let her list them.
I know all 7 of them,
Then
and I'm going to say
them
again, because you're going to get embarrassed. You don't have to rush this. I'm also showing an example of a very flawed debate strategy. I am under no time constraint.
I got one.
Great. The second charge is the felony discharge of a weapon. The next 2 charges are for obstruction of justice.
Okay.
The next 2 charges are for witness tampering. And the
what's
final
the specific charges, though?
that is them: obstruction of justice,
Both
obstruction of justice, witness tampering.
Okay, and there's no other specifics to them.
Well, I can tell you why he's being charged.
No, just the charges, and then 7.
Yeah, see, the bad thing is when you try to be an a-hole and it doesn't work.
What's the 7th?
The last charge is violence in front of a minor.
Okay, got it. So then he's being charged with murder. You just say aggravated murder. That's the distinction. You just want to.
It's a massive. It's like you cannot say murder versus aggravated murder.
Distinction.
This gets to the entire crux of why him being up for the death sentence. And I actually find the defense's filing about why this is not aggravated to be very compelling of why it's not aggravated murder. I actually think that if the state was going to even try to pull this off, they should have charged him with just murder. And then I do also, again, want to stress to audiences that debate strategy gets some sport. I think he thinks it's a blood sport. It's not. It's about being right and being principled when you're engaging. And you can make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time, but at least be genuine in pretending that you care about this case enough to know one of the 7 charges that are up against Tyler Robinson. When you see,
look at that, and Candace Owens, Baron Coleman calls her the principal, and that's what this feels like. Like Andrew Wilson is in the principal's office, and he's back talking. He's one of those, those teenagers, high school kids that You know, they're so arrogant, they think they know everything. And now he's been sent to the principal's office and he's still spouting off. He's still flapping his gums, and the principal is putting him in his place. And this is embarrassing for him. Very, very, very embarrassing.
The evidence is overwhelming that he's guilty. If you would like to move to final statements, I'm fine. I want to make sure Andrew has had the time that he has requested.
I think your team would like to pull up the 7 charges that he just asked you about. If you
Sure.
guys want to pull that up just to confirm the 7 you went through.
Bam.
Can you guys zoom in a little bit? For
Aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm, obstruction of justice, which is counts 3 and 4, 5 and 6, tampering with a witness, and count 7,
violent
I said offense in the presence of a
in front
minor.
of a child?
Yeah.
That's what
So
I said.
5, 6, tampering witness, 3rd-degree felony. Now, I did notice something I just was curious about.
So look at what he does. Candace Owens just listed all 7 charges from the dome. And Andrew Wilson challenged her, but yet Andrew Wilson doesn't even acknowledge that Candace Owens just did what he asked. He doesn't even acknowledge it. He wants to pivot and move on to something else. This is his debating tactic because he has nothing. He has nothing except for he came to defend, to advocate for TPUSA, Israel, and to collect his money. To gain popularity. According to PPD, he's the big winner. He's the big winner. He's a bigger winner than Candace, according to PPD. And Stephen Chowder.
If I'm just wondering, when you pulled out your phone just before you asked that question, did somebody by chance text you that question?
You can check my.
Man, he's desperate. That's desperation right there. You're trying to find a way to discredit Candace Owens. And he's so desperate. He's like drowning, right? And he's just flailing. He's flailing and he's looking for a life raft right now. He's drowning. That's what he's doing. Reaching really, really hard.
Phone.
I'm just curious.
No, you can absolutely not. I have not had one communication with a single person, not even my producers who are in there this whole time we were here. You want to check my phone? I'm happy to do it because you're just going to get double embarrassed. Where's my phone?
You want to see it?
I'm just curious. Yeah.
You can literally do that. Here you go. PBD, you're the moderator.
Okay.
Take it.
Let's see
See
it.
if anyone was texted at all during this debate
All right.
about the violent charges or anything.
I'm looking through this. You give me permission.
You
I'm
have
looking
full
I'm not gonna
permission to
give
go through my
names.
phone. I don't need to
So
cheat.
the last one has nothing to do with it. It's just a compliment.
Mhm.
I haven't even read my text messages.
That's
So
a compliment.
he's reading them.
You're okay. You'll give me permission.
Yes.
I'm just going to read 3 of them
Yes.
to 1132 because after that, I don't need to read.
Andrew
them.
Wilson's
How
foot.
do you know their texts? Could have been Telegram. Could have been something.
All
like
I
that.
have is Signal. You can check that too.
Desperation. Could have been Telegram, Signal. Man, this is so embarrassing. He knows he lost the debate, and he's trying to find a way to get back in.
Only have Signal. Telegram I used in Russia.
Okay.
And that was it. I downloaded it for
I'll
Russia.
take your word for it.
Yeah.
Then-
I don't need to I
Okay.
deeply care about this case. I don't need to pretend
I get
to
it.
know
If you
stuff that
deeply
I
care
don't
about
know.
the case,
Yeah.
I just, I have my other question is about
Mhm.
the steakhouse receipt.
All right. So as you can see, this was a really bad look for Andrew Wilson in this debate. And I mean, look, Candace Owens, she came in very prepared. She had detailed knowledge, and as you know, we've been following this case along with Candace, for almost a year now, for many months. She had detailed knowledge of the case filings, the charging documents. She knew her sources, and Andrew Wilson just really relied on gotcha moments, gotcha clips from her past content that it wasn't agreed that that's what was going to be shown. And he seemed very less familiar with the primary evidence of the case. And the fact that he opened up reading from his phone for about 6 minutes, I think, 6 or 7 minutes, barely looked up at Candace, barely looked up at PBD, just reading from his phone, claiming that Tyler Robinson was the shooter, and he had overwhelming evidence. And PBD later in the broadcast asked, "Hey, from 0 to 100, put it from 0 to 100. How much do you believe that Tyler Robinson is guilty?" And he said about 75%, 75 to 85%, or something like that. And this really was an admission that it's an admission of reasonable doubt. If you're um, convinced that the evidence is overwhelming 75%, that undercuts the overwhelming claim. And again, for me, the biggest standout moment of this debate was Candace reciting those charges from memory. And then asked Wilson before that, before she recited the charges, asked Wilson, "Can you cite even just one?" And he says, "I think murder. I think murder." And Candace made the distinction between murder and aggravated murder because one carries the death sentence, and he did not want to concede. He thought that wasn't really important, and it is very important. One, murder, you could do life in prison, or and aggravated murder is the death sentence in Utah. So, in this debate, Wilson spent so much time trying to quote farm and attack Candace's year-long investigation with out of context clips, rather than really affirming or championing or defending any evidence that Tyler acted alone and he was the lone gunman atop the Losey Center. So this debate was, like I said, it wasn't so much a great debate per se. It was more like proof, evidence that TPUSA and that establishment narrative is just continuing to fall apart. Like I said, it was very awkward. He came up with this. What did he say? He said something about the contract that they signed, that he was able to ask Candace questions, which Candace said wasn't true. Yeah, and just overall, I think he looked unprepared. He was more like trying to, mud wrestle with a pregnant woman, and Andrew Wilson just really looked bad. And I just don't agree with PBD's stance that he's the big winner because he made money and he's got more exposure. Yeah. So tell me what you think about that. Comment, like the video. And he also wanted to, he talked about the receipt, the steakhouse receipt. They talked about that a little bit, and he didn't want to accept that. He started bringing up, the merchant, Visa or MasterCard, whatever it was. I mean, what does that have to do with anything? I think if the owner of the steakhouse is presenting a receipt, what's in it for him? Right? I think that's good enough evidence to take, and for Candace to put that on her timeline. So yeah, tell me what you think about this.